Thank you for watching here on YouTube, live at Blooming Light at Blooming's Tribe. If you're logging in live, it is Wednesday, August the 20th, 2025. Airtime original at 1:43 approximately p.m. Central Standard Time in the U.S. If you are logging in at a later time and date and you are a non-crazy, a non-toxic, non-killer, non-creepy individual to you, thank you for watching. Okay, so if you're not familiar, if you're new to my channel, then please look at the homepage, look at the links that I have shared to other platforms. If you're interested in donating to the cause for survivors, for targeted individuals, there's PayPal links and GoFundMe links that you all, if you feel so guided, every little bit counts. My son and me, we are currently in Southeast Texas, Beaumont, Texas, and we are, we want to do lateral, okay, first, to try to make these transitions more bearable, okay, but we're trying to get back to the West Coast, and preferably, I think he wants to go to where he was born, so, Long Beach, but San Diego, Irvine, there's certain places that I'm open to, but getting back to the West Coast, and from there, we actually wanting to leave the country. Okay, but that, that's, I understand like there's a little bit more process to that. So that's why I said it's like first a lateral move, and then we will, the goal is definitely moving out of the country at some point, maybe within the next couple of years. Okay. Because it's apparently, it may not be safe for my son and me here. Okay, that's kind of the vibe I'm starting to feel. That I don't know, because sometimes it's like if it's just the corruption's just too deep. But we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Right now, we're just trying to get back to the West Coast. Okay, anyway, neither here nor there. You can check out those links and stuff like that. A lot of videos here if you want to know more about all that good old stuff. Check that out. Now, this video, I think the title says The Black Cat Myth. The Black Cat Myth. And then I believe you all are looking at something like black sheep. Okay, talking about black sheep of the family. But just follow me for a minute. Okay. Imagine you are a black cat, a domestic cat. Okay, a black domesticated, short-haired cat. Now their ancestors, they come from possibly panthers, okay, the feline lineage, okay, but okay, imagine just for fun, shits and giggles. I love doing this because it seems like when we go here, it seems we're able to pull a little bit more because we're objectifying things externally, and it's like, okay, but imagine you, and also you all can watch this one movie, I think it's called Flow, Flow, and it might be, I'm trying to remember where did I see it. It's either Hulu, YouTube, Netflix, possibly, if you type it in, and it's about a black cat, actually. Okay, it's actually about a cat. It's a whole movie, and you got some cats and some dogs, but it's you just gotta watch it anyway. So you're a black cat, but let's say now you're this black cat, domesticated black cat. Let's say that you are in a time and a space and dispensation and location, not when they were honored, because there's stories about in history in certain places they were revered and honored. Let's say it's the dispensation where there's the folklore, okay, and the myths that that they're a sign, okay, of bad luck. And that it's, you know, just like some kind of distorted type of energy connotation, like some weirdo shit, based on other myths and folklore. Okay, and as a result, you, this cat, you know, you don't know nothing about it. You just happen to land. Okay, you're where you're at, and your surroundings is hostile. People, you know, the humans in that land, not so much the animals. The animals kind of know better, but let's say the humans in that land, you're getting some strange vibes as a black cat. Okay, they looking at you all kind of funny. You know, some of them avoiding you like you had the bubonic plague. Others of them, you know what I'm saying, they cruel, mean. Others of them even try to do physical harm to you, um, and taunt you. And you're, for no reason, you're this black cat. You're like, what is all of this? Because let's say you as this black cat, let's say you're very kind and playful and gentle and even intuitive, and you know, maybe you even got a certain level of wisdom, and so you really are in a world. You're like, well, what is that? What is that? What is that? Why are these humans being weird and strange for no reason, as far as it concerns to me? Because I haven't done anything to them. I'm not in their head. I can't be there. I'm not in their head. I'm not in their whatever wounding and trauma they had with another black cat back in the day. I can't, you know all of that as to what have them feeling and thinking the way they do. To, in some cases, like I said, some of them would just avoid the black cat like the bubonic plague and tell everyone else in the state to do so. Okay? And then, you know, the others would mock. Okay? Some would, you know, they'll mock, they'll joke, bully. Some try to even physically harm. Now pretend you're the black cat. I have to say that. I have to say pretend. Imagine that that's your embodiment. Okay? Because otherwise it's not personal. Imagine that it is you. And everybody, let's say within these humans, they got all this so-called data. Let's say amongst, you know, some of the groups, they got all this paperwork. They got this big leather-bound book that says blase, blase, blase. And others, you know, they got this and that, and everybody's got all this information, and they're meeting in a town square. Meanwhile, the black cat is sitting there talking about to themselves, I ain't did nothing to these humans. Why is everybody in an uproar? How would you feel? What would you be thinking? What would you do? What if it was you as a black cat and your black baby, your black cat baby, or black cat, you know, teenagers, whatever the case may be? What would you do? Would you care anything about whatever data they talk about in the town square? Because again, from your space, You all are kind, wise, gentle, intuitive, grounded, balanced, and haven't done anything to the humans for them to be doing any of those things. Mm. That's, I'm bringing that up because, again, the black sheeps, that's kind of the scenario. That's the classic case of what that looks like manifested in human form, the black sheeps. Okay? But when you go beyond even that, the family structure, the family dynamics, just in life, the ignorance of humanity hasn't really changed as much as we think it has. It just simply shifted form. Once upon a time, the melanated community was treated as the black cat. Was looked at that way, and there was leather-bound text that had several groups of individuals co-signing that. To be okay with the abuse and the mistreatment. And it was all based on delusion, all sorts of shit. Had no real truth, weight, or relevance. It was based on greed, delusion, you name it. You can go on and on and on. But the bottom line, it was really believed. And because in some cases that was really believed, is hence why they felt okay doing some stuff that we can't talk about, we can't mention, because it's almost unfathomable that there's any humans that would have even went there. So-called humans. That would have been willing, just on the premise, not on the premise of, it's fear. Not on the premise of this person is coming for our lives, and we can see it. No, you went over there. And you came for them. You came for them. You wanted to exploit them. You felt entitled to them. You were fascinated by them. And you felt entitled. They felt entitled. And sought to exploit that. Control, fear, entitlement. For something that was supposed to be so inherently bad. Why would you want something that's so inherently bad in your house, near you? I don't care if it is the backyard. Why would you want them, any benefit from them at all? Why would you want them to touch, do anything if it is dangerous and it is inherently bad? Lies, all lies. And we have that in 2025. still in full effect. And it's disguised now. Whether this be about your culture, whether this be about being a black cat, for lack of better words, or this is about something else discriminatory based. Based on presumptions, fear, false expectation, false evidence, appearing real. Hence, all of the malignant activity that we experience, that we know about, this is it. I am astonished that in 2025, this is where we're still at. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that some of our ancestors that managed to, I'm gonna say it this way, the ones that managed to process and get liberated in that in-between crossing, in other words, they didn't stay stuck or trapped or continue the karmic loop. You know, they managed somehow to transcend and transmute and liberate. You know what I'm saying? And so with that comes the truth. I'm willing to bet some of them wouldn't have never thought that in this dispensation that would still be in forms of, whether that be belief system, culture, gender, sexuality, like all of those things, like all this wokeness. All these so-called discrimination laws. All that really has done is help people to be more clever, period. To scapegoat, in other words, to scapegoat and find some other premise to have an issue with someone so that it doesn't look like they're being driven by what they're actually being driven by. No, you know, I have my best friend. I have half black kids. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. Yeah, I don't have no. I'm not discriminatory against disabled people, because that's a thing too. Feel like you just treat them like trash, and they shouldn't, you know. Or you can just, you know, they disabled. It don't matter. That kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. No, that's, you know, that's not it. We have a problem because see, we think, we are suspecting, see, we don't trust her, and, you know, we feel that they are, you know, that's technically, that's what it is. Oh, that's why you've been upset since like day one? Oh, okay. No, 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 that, you know, it don't have nothing to do with their religion, their beliefs. Really? Are you sure? Because it kind of seemed like got a sudden case of the nosies the moment you saw a crystal. Nosies that you wouldn't have, maybe wouldn't have otherwise had if everything that you saw was based on your belief system. No, 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 no. We not like that. We you know. No, we better than that, you know, because we know how I feel. Do you? Mm. See, this is why there are some ancestors that's, like I said, in disgust. It's like, yeah, you would think, but it looks like you kind of lost touch. Massa still got his grip on you, apparently. Because you forgot what it feels like to be the black cat. You forgot what it feels like to be treated in an unjust, unfair, uncivil, inhumane manner, simply based on the premise of differences, not on anything valid. You forgot what it's like for people to presume that you was dumb, that you was nothing, that you was supposed to sit on the back of the bus. You forgot. And your all-natural look ain't changing it. You forgot. Boy, y'all got seats and masses for it. You forgot what it's like for people to presume about you and know absolutely nothing. You forgot what it was like to have your whole get up, nigga, done forgot. What it was like to have your whole person violated and your children violated on a daily basis just cause you was a nigga. You forgot what that felt like in the core because you didn't. It's in your DNA, but you done forgot, you see. As you done been auditioning to be a house nigga. Because ain't shit changed. It has taken a different form. You forgot? You claim. Singing hymns, that's all they had. I can imagine them say, y'all, they stripped us. Hello, you don't have to have a high IQ to know that. Y'all, that was the solace, bitch. They took everything. And when they did allow something, it had something to do. Once they were ready for that, in a nice little book they presented to us. And that's where we got and derived our faith, but now we know. That's why they're discussing at many now. Because talk about their faith, yet doing what their master has done is disgusting. It's a disgrace. It's like, okay, so with all of this time and technology that has went by and y'all got all access in which we did not. And with all of this so-called liberty and freedom and justice and access to you still ignorant. You're still colonized, you're still trauma bonded, you're still Stockholm syndromed to such an extent that you're fighting yourself and you're fighting your own kind. The very inhumane treatment that we set in because of our differences, you all are helping your master do so now, nigga. Talking is a big game. Purity. Holiness. Truth and justice is a bunch of hogwash. They see the entire vision. Big talk for people that plot daily on innocent life. Big talk for people who are willing to make a deal. Just sprinkle, sprinkle to make people sick. Their own kind sick. For some fucking Scooby snacks and kibbles and bits. Big talk, nigga. For people who are willing to sacrifice their mama, their daddy, their niece, their nephew, their brother, their sister, an innocent baby, their husband, their wife, some sherms. Sherm Polly, you won't mind that. Big talk for people who claim to be so, make good choices. Want podcasts about behavioral health. We laugh at that. Are you fucking kidding me? Really though? Oh, you got some wisdom, you say? Big talk. Big talk. For people who would do anything. When they get in trouble, talk about growth. Why do you people want to teach and speak at all? Big talk for when you find yourself in the pickle and the thither because, well, unlike many of the targets and survivors who you all managed to manufacture impossible situations and they had to survive. In your case, in you all's case, due to your own nefarious dealings and greed and your skanky ass, shiesty ass ways, when you get into trouble, just trouble that is, just and fair in this instance, you're ready to make a deal with the devil. The devil that you are rebuking possibly every 60 seconds or so, rigorously. But you're ready to make a deal. To get that sentence reduced. In some cases, altogether moved. What happened to all of the holiness that you all quack about like peacocks? Big talk. You're ready to lay down a life right there on the table, just like that. New York Minute, weak wheel. Just like that. Not that you were willing to tell the truth simply about a situation. That's a different kind of vibe. No, you were willing big talk. And that's where 2025 is for the most of the masses of humanity. Lots of causes, huh? Lots of causes and banners and projects. Very same people you violate every fucking day. Smiling and shit. See her smiling. Smiling for. Ought to be disgusted with yourself. At least that means there's a glimmer of consciousness left that realizes this is grotesque. You all still think each other. That's the problem with the ones of you out there who refuse. You're stuck at age 4. Me. Oblivious. Not only do you want what's yours, you want what's everyone else's. And you see each other as the enemy. And this works for your master. And your massa is the control powers. Everybody want to be a star. Everybody want a fancy car. This is kind of how Hollywood and the entertainment industry, as well as the sporting industry, has came to be as we know it. And if only you knew what we know, it ain't no different than the massacres in slave time as far as we're concerned. It's just fanciful now. It's just behind the scene. It's just in some cases even worse because it's a slower, even more treacherous and torturous form of inhumanity, inhumane treatment. Essentially subjecting a person and a people via covert manipulation. To a life of abuse and torture and restrictions while pretending like it ain't happening. At least in the slavery in olden days, bitch. It was wrong, but it was what it was. It was no secret about it. It wasn't no abuse or whipping and it's pretending to not be whipped, and you know, it was what it was. And see, now y'all smile. Exploit programs, government programs, and you still doing the same shit. Different fucking outfit. It's still exploiting them amongst each other. House niggas versus the field ones. Still doing the same shit. And on a grander scale, as this pertains to all nations, it's still the same thing. The ones who will bow to Massa and the ones who won't. The ones who want the blue pill for Scooby snacks and kibbles and bits. And they'll be willing to be the intel for Massa. They'll also be the ones willing to hurt their own for Massa. As long as it's guaranteeing that they get preserved. Disgusting. Anywho, I don't know why I went there, but maybe it's the reason. We're talking about the black cat myth and we're talking about the black sheep, and essentially those things still are. It's almost more insidious in my opinion. And I'm not saying this for doom and gloom. I'm not saying this that, oh, it's like, oh gosh, let's just shoot us now. You know, go to the not so much. But the awareness does help us to shift possibly in our disposition and to shift in even our thinking about some things, and also to shift and maybe help us to shift in how we're thinking of ourselves and others, especially our culture, especially programmings and systems and belief systems. And it helps us to evaluate, check ourselves. Nose blindness. smell our own poop. When did it become okay? And that's what I can imagine some of the ancestors, even the non-human ones, like, you know, whatever this is, the ones, bitch, the ones that's benevolent, okay? The ones that's non-toxic, they benevolent, they have expanded their conscious awareness, you know, transcended those. I could imagine the question, when did it become okay? Abuse culture. See, I happen to believe, in my humble opinion, many of us, especially the melanated, you know, descendants of Africans, I happen to believe that many of us don't even realize why we're so inclined to abuse, and we feel like it's leadership and authority and structure and discipline, and that's because it was already beat into our DNA. It was beat into our DNA, and then it became cemented with every generation, where we continued. And the reason being, I believe that that's so, when you think about what happens, not just to the brain, but to a life of a people that is in suffrage and limitations and lack of resources, and its overall holistic effect on them, then you can see it's almost, the writing is on the wall. They don't have no point of reference. The abuse is built in. They're being restricted, and then the pressure of life is all there, and you know, shit like that. So shit that shouldn't take us there would take us there. So you have children, and because of, we are already on edge, we were hardwired on edge, actually. Already there, nigga. Huh? And then you had children, and we can't, you know, we don't have a healthy point of reference, and children being children, it takes us there. We go to work, we get these jobs, and we have to, once again, slave. We have to, you know what I'm saying, bow and comply and put up with disrespect and, you know, all sorts of shit, because we need that check, and, you know, yada yada. And we come home, because we already fucked up inside. We don't even know we already fucked up. We come home, kids can't be regular. They can't be the regular kids. They can't be kids in the natural processes, because our ass is a ticking time bomb. And the normal processes that's just come with being a child. And then we resent them, because you know, we looking at them, and then we like, it's shit because of your ass and shit. You see what I'm saying? And we think, you know, we think fear, pushing fear in them is actually honor and respect. But it ain't. We don't know how to have real intimacy, survival-based, triage relationships. This is why. that we go through that and we can't see it for a while till, you know, someday we get there and then we're ready to unravel it. But why we be edgy? Because it's like we feel out of control. We had all that wounding in us, all these pressures, the restricted, you know, all that combined. And a kid being a kid is gonna take you over. They disrespected you. You feeling some kind of way. Where did we get that from? Trace it back. Yeah, that's correct, because Master, you ain't supposed to say shit, remember? You can't remember, but your ancestors do. Because if you say something, your ass gonna get in trouble, and you're all still acting that way now. And see, since that's what's been on you, then you invoke that onto your children, and then you evoke that if ever, God forbid, never, you get a position of power. Before your ass do some real work inside. Then you're doing it there too. And the poor apples. Good gravy. Animals have an innate natural nature. The black cat, like the other felines, domestic cats, they still have their ancestors' DNA. They're predators. Okay? By nature, they're predators. And they actually know how to fight by nature when put in a certain position. They don't need a class or anything. It's in their DNA. Isn't that kind of interesting how they just do? The feline, even their various temperaments, because they have different temperaments, but the bottom line, if there's a threat to their body, to their sense of safety, they'll do a couple of things depending on what their temperament is. They may give you a warning, and from them, warnings are hisses. They will give you a hiss. Some of them will give you a certain look where it seems like their eyeballs are penetrating the very fiber of your being. Others of them, depending if they are in position to do so, because they're very intelligent, if they're in position to do so, they're going to fight you, they're going to bite you, and they are going to use their limbs and their mouth if they can. And others of them, they will, if their temperament is more calm in nature, and they only do that if they absolutely have to, then they'll basically get away from you. They will seek to find a way to not be around you. And this guy, that is not insulting, disrespect, any of those things actually. Is not insulting, disrespectful, but when a human is dealing with all of their own shit, their unresolved shit, on top of most shit, okay? And depending on what their temperament is and their attitude and view is, they'll take that and really feel some kind of way and be mad and want to punish the feline for doing what they're innate to do. Just because the human feels superior to them. Does it sound familiar? The human is superior. They're paying the bills. They're giving them their, all of those things that we look at. They, they didn't adopted it, nigga, and they taking it to the pet, and then it, and so as far as it's concerned, it's like a child, right? Like their child. Like, okay. But it sees the same difference with abuse with the child. Once again, same thing. And where did we get all that from? The cat would be scared. I done learned so many lessons just with Osiris alone about myself, nigga. All just him, bitch. Not to mention my son. The many lessons, many thousand trillion ones pertaining to him. But just with Osiris. And it ain't all pretty on my end either. Because he's a cat. See that? He's a cat. Huh? But he's a being. Is he not a being? With feelings and thoughts and his developmental level and all of those things, is he not? He don't matter? Does he don't matter? He don't matter at all then? He don't matter. So he don't feel because he a cat? We all know his story, much like our human experience. We all know each other's story. I got some backdrop on him. I have his complete full records. He's been in, at least I counted, four emergency shelters. I think the Flow movie is kind of his story. Like, he went through some kind of tragedy. Like maybe in like some storm, weather related something somewhere. And I honor him for the lessons because it helped me to even become even more self-aware. Like, see, this is it. This is the stuff right here. Sure, people were doing spells. I know what they were doing, but I'm not going to put all of that onto the fact that people were manipulating energy. Because it can only go into full effect where my breakdown is. I was like, see, you know what I'm saying? You're on edge, you're on edge. You're perimenopausal, huh? And you're on edge and shit because you got all these crazy toxic killer hoes and niggas and shit. You're dealing with that nigga. And then, whoa. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like all of this. Whoop. And trying to do your healing. You got your son and they're attacking him. And then trying to, and so you're on edge. And so everything then is heightened. And since there's a sense of no control because of the manipulators and all this stuff behind the scene in certain ways, then Humans then tend to seek to overcompensate in areas when that's the case. This is why children usually do, I hate to say this, but they definitely usually do get the brunt. Because, you know, mama and daddy can't control the work environment, you know, can't control the man, the boss lady, you know. And then in other cases, you know, can't control the lover. Lover's acting a fool and you tired of their ass and, and whatever other disgust that they may have about themselves at any given time. You know what I'm saying? All the shit that we go through. And then lo and behold, ergo, your children and your animals. Discipline is a lot different, but our culture has been shaped to believe that abuse is discipline. And that abuse is leadership and authority and structure. Some cases we say tough love, but that ain't, in my humble opinion, that is not what actual, or should I say grounded, balanced, healthy, tough love actually looks like. Not from what I've seen. Sometimes we just mad and we just pissed and we going hard and extra. Haven't you ever noticed, have you did your own science project? I've done it, and I allow myself to be honest with myself. When I'm in a happier space or mind space, or my energy and frequency is in a certain space, and let's say the child or the animal acts out and does certain things, I may have something to say or a certain response, but I promise you it seems to be vastly different. And I know that's natural. Somebody's gonna say, well, it's natural because you're edgy. I'm not saying it's not natural, but the fact that if we can't control it, or we can't temper it, or if it tips into abuse, that's something that we need to be aware of. Because it's still not the child's or the animal's fault. Whether it's a kind of normal because, you know, you're edgy, well, then there's something we need to do. I think I told Osiris, you know, at some point when he was first here, before he had ran off, and before he had came back, I remember telling him, because I started catching myself, and I was like, okay, And so one time I had told him, I said, you know, because I talked to him. I said, you know, I tell you what, I said, oh, poor Osiris, his perimenopausal mother. I said, I tell you what, it's my responsibility to figure this out, to work my deal out. All this stuff that's going on with me, all this stuff that's going on with my son, so that you don't have to suffer. And if I can't I gave myself a deadline. I said, if I seem to not be able to find better outlets to cope or whatever needs to happen, you deserve better. I remember saying that. I said, you deserve better than if I can't. And I will try to find you a suitable home where maybe they're not dealing with people stalking them and this kind of toxicities that we're dealing with. I sure did. And I meant it. So I kept putting in, you know, strategies to help and blase. I was still doing too much. I still had much to learn as it pertains to felines. And when you're first getting an animal, there's a period an adjustment. And there's so much to all that that I never really thought about, even though I had animals in the past. So I was doing too much. I was being extra. I was like, come on, Osiris. It's just like, your flight risk, did you not read the paperwork? Oh my God. Yeah. But now we're bonding. We have a stronger bond, and a different approach. He's still mischievous. He still do stuff. But now I kind of laugh at some of the stuff because I'm like, he's like a little kid. He's like a 2-year-old. And he has his personality, and you see this mischievous, and he'll look at me to see if I'm watching or not, just like a kid. And if I'm not, then he'll try. So I kind of laugh at a lot of it. And but he's also a precious cat, like very sweet. He's actually a very sweet and mild-tempered cat. But when he's nervous and when he's scared, he's sensitive to energy. I've already picked that up. When heavy dark magic and projections is being sent here, he knows it. He shifts. And he has there's 2 boxes that he has, and he only goes to them. He only goes to them. He'll go inside and he'll peep out, and I'll see his glowing eyes. He goes to them. He stays there for a while. And sometimes he'll watch me as I'm trying to clear. He'll watch me walking around and going through different spaces and like clearing. And he's staying in that box and he looking. And once I notice like the energy shift or breaks up or whatever, the density and offness, he comes out. I don't have to ask him to come out. I don't go say he comes out. It's like he can feel it, and he's trying to find, that's his way of trying to find security and comfort when something feels off and dangerous possibly. Anyway, kind of reminded me of me when I was a little girl. I did something very similar. I went in the closet where I grew up at. Yep. When either the closet or in the corner by the wall heater. Those were 2. And I'd go in the closet. I remember I'll leave just a little bit because it was the sliding kind. It was the doors, and it was on top of the drawers, and it was the sliding kind. So I would go in there and sit, push the shoes and the clothes, and close it, but leave a little bit so I could see. And I remember, I don't know why I remember, but I remember that I was maybe 4. I'm telling y'all, I was maybe 4 or 5. And I had my crayons, and I would draw on the walls in the closet. And that was my sense of, okay, well, a sense of feeling secured. The best that I could get anyway. Humans and humanity needs to understand today. All creeds, all cultures, all statuses. That a lot of the stuff that we want to label as certain things is people or beings having the right, or should I change that? Honoring their deservability-ness, nigga, I'm making up words, honoring themselves to not be victimized unnecessarily. A lot of what we want to call abhorrent, obstinate, unfriendly, sneaky, not in all cases, I simply said a lot of what we're calling things is people being just as intuitive as the black cat and not sitting by just letting it happen if they can help it. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. Targeted populations, I guarantee you, they do not want your husband or wife. They don't want your business. They don't want what you've got. They are not in competition with you. I guarantee you, that they are not on some kind of secret mission to destroy you. But they are on a mission to make sure you don't destroy them. And their children. And if that means they have to blow things out of the water that most are afraid to do, then they'll do, because that's a part of their preservation. Where it makes people uncomfortable and everybody would rather that they mastered and majored in shutting the fuck up. Because it's messing up the money. It's messing up the deals. It's messing up the plans. That's not their problem, as I said. Their mission is not here to destroy people. Their mission is to make sure that they and theirs aren't, due to people's ignorance, greed, and entitlement.